Hello, this is the Great Riek here. At this point, the Fire Emblem 4 video is in development hell. Especially when Famitsu and the Japanese Fire Emblem Twitter keep releasing shit about Fire Emblem 3 houses. However, despite being hyped, I have reservations. Mostly because this game has shown a lot, but also has gotten a quote-unquote leak from a guy named Thenny on Reddit, which I would take a look at in your discretion. I'm going to link that in my description. But for now, I will list a few things that, while they excite me, make me worried for the game. I'll get into each of these as they're on the list on the page I linked to. This is also semi-scripted, but mostly unscripted too. Either way, let's get into this. First thing that is noted is there will be a more socially acceptable form of skinship. Now, that one I highly doubt, because no one liked the skinship in Fates. Everyone I know, aside from the hardcore weebs, didn't like it at all, and another thing that points against it is when I right-click and click on there, it takes me nowhere, unlike the other stuff in this. So, if they removed that, then that just raises more suspicions. Next is, you can recruit one more member from another house once in your playthrough, but not a lord or retainer. That would make sense to me. I mean, honestly, if you're supposed to go against each other like people assume, you would obviously not want to stick with a ruler or an occasion. Characters like Roshea exist all the time. But that's semi-believable, you know? I'm not against that if we do get more people, but right now the stuff is just pretty tame. Quote-unquote, all I know is you can't equip Knuckles while mounted. There should still be a weapon triangle IRC, I'll have to ask. Which, honestly, they've already confirmed that, so, like, that's actually accurate and proves in this thing's favor, so I'm not gonna question it. Dorothea's personal skill is passive healing. Again, another confirmation. And because we've revealed that Dorothea's skill Songstress gives 10% HP to adjacent allies. So that one's another confirmed thing. Byleth is not customizable. That's kind of already been proven false, because we've seen him be reclassed and all that. He's also a commoner class. Like, he is not a special class. He's not like a lord class, a teacher class, or anything. He's a trainee class like everyone else, which the game has already confirmed. So, that one I am skeptical as all hell about. Buffs and debuffs are back. Now that's somewhat correct, actually, because from what I understand about battalions, is that the debuffs, they do give buffs and debuffs, so that might be what they're referring to, unless there's some skills that debuff classes, and that might be believable. There are 3rd or 4th tiers of classes. Another believable thing, because, like, most of the classes we've revealed unlock at level 5 or level 10, and intermediate classes like Mercenary and stuff seem to be semi-promotions a la Echoes, so that might be a thing. And also with the extra EXP, because they're using the Heroes formula for personal experience from what it looks like, we might have forever to upgrade and change classes. Levels may continue after promotion. I'd honestly believe that, because honestly I feel like they're going with a Fire Emblem 4 system, and with that they can obviously keep going and going until they reach level 40, which might take 8,000 EXP, but that's just my own speculation. Next is Byleth can support the students. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because honestly, Byleth is not that far in age from the rest of the class, but at the same time, he is honestly older than the rest of the class. Like, so, it's kind of like the Keestis and Squall situation from Final Fantasy VIII, where it wouldn't be taboo, but it's not the best thing to do. So, you know, we'll just have to wait and see on that, but I'm kind of iffy on it, even with the new, like, stuff about the crests. Maps are subpar, more varied than Awakenings, and better than Shadows of Valencia's. I feel like that's more of a personal opinion, because I personally didn't care for the maps in Awakening, because they were all route and they didn't look that interesting. While Shadows of Valencia, and Gaiden in particular, I liked the map design because it fit the theme of the game, that being minor skirmishes. So, I mean, if there's a lot of battles that are just minor skirmishes, they'll be very simplistic like that. So, again, that one just sounds more opinion piece than anything. There are random battles. I don't think there's any path that allows you to unlock all the characters, which is good because that basically deconfirms a Revelations. Though, again, that one is also unavailable to click onto, at least for me. There are random battles. Oh wait, I already repeated that. But yeah, I like the idea of random battles because they've already revealed with the calendar system that you can't really grind, or that you can grind, but you can only like do one battle per day or maybe per weekend. So you kind of want to train your characters up before the story mission happens. That you can teach anyone to be a refresher through Manuela, I believe. Though I think you can only have one at a time. I don't think there's going to be really a dancer class, or else they would have already shown it by now. Or, if anything, there's going to be the Again skill from Shadows of Valencia. But that's as far as I think it'll go. So far, all these gameplay ones seem pretty believable because, again, the game seems to be varied as all hell. There should be a Pegasus class that could wield bows as well. So basically they're saying Kinshi Knights are returning. People liked Kinshi Knights, I was on them. There's a skill similar to Rescue. Kanto has been confirmed. Kanto, yeah, has been confirmed, so like we have Path of Radiance Kanto where if you do something like attack or anything, you can move again after as long as you have remaining move. As for Rescue, I think the Rescue staff should come back, but really all this gameplay stuff is pretty reasonable. It's where you get to the characters section of this article, or this leaks thread, and their specific promotions, as they say, that I am really calling bullshit. There's only one true retainer, Edelgard's. Claude has 2 and Dimitri has 1, but they're closer to friends / bodyguards. I can see that, like, because honestly, Edelgard seems to be the most closed off one, and Claude seems a bit more open, and Dimitri is a lot more mysterious than initially let on, so I could definitely see that, but other than that, like, I'll just have to wait until we see. There's the same amount of characters in each of the routes. That's believable because we've already seen that there's, like, the house leaders and 7 other students, so that makes 8. Plus by left, that's 9, and honestly, because they're all leaders, I really doubt we're getting that many more, because honestly, you can't have too many leaders in one fight, in my opinion. The fan service is more subdued this time around. Dorothea and Manuela are probably the closest you'll get from the characters revealed so far, but even they are quite different from the likes of Camilla or Tharia. And honestly, I would appreciate that. I would honestly appreciate that, because, like, the closest you get is, like, Dorothy or Manuela, and they're not that bad. Like, sure, they have cleavage, but cleavage is fine. It's just how you do it. Like, Camilla was just nothing but a walking pair of tits, and Tharia, I'll get to her when I get to my Awakening review in 2025. Nearly all of them are from noble houses, even the Golden Deer students, so a good number of them have crests. Leonie is probably the only true commoner. I am less doubtful on that theory, or actually I'm more doubtful on it, because honestly the Golden Deer students are said to be a mix, and it wouldn't make sense for Leone to be the only commoner in the House of the Golden Deer. And a good number of them have crests. I can believe that, you know? Because there's supposedly 22 crests so far. And like 21 that we know of, and Byleth's hidden crest. So, we'll just have to wait and see, and who knows? Maybe not all of them are good guy crests, like the Near Blood in Fire Emblem 4, that's only that's Dozer blood only. Like House Dozel only, and only Lex is playable, and he's minor. So yeah, that might be the case. Now this is where I very clearly start to call bullshit. Dimitri gains swords, authority, an eye patch, and better hair on promotion. He also faced traumas in his past and in the story, with a lot of his development coming from battling mental health. I can see the trauma in his past and story, and him developing with mental health, because that'd be an interesting character arc. What I don't see is the fucking promotion and the eye patch. That is, like, at least if you're playing as him. The reason I say specifically while playing as him is because here's the thing. Nobody's class is unique. People need to get over that. Each of them are fucking trainees. Like, I could see him gaining swords and authority and, like, different hair and such on promotion if he was, say, not playable in the route. Like, say you're going Edelgard's story, and in the story he gets captured. So with that, he has to, you know, like, so with that he gets captured, he loses an eye, he has to use a sword to get his way out, and he ends up commanding a crew of the pirates he took over with his own charisma. So that would be pretty interesting, but other than that, I don't want unique promotions, because it's like, so what if they're the house leaders? They're still just the noble class. Aristocrat was the old name in the old trailers. I know some people still cling to that whole, oh, but Edelgard and Dimitri and Claude are aristocrats, not nobles. Fuck off, they are nobles. The aristocrat was, again, just an original in development name. Also, speaking of promotions, Claude gains a unique looking wyvern in his canon promotion and gains facial hair, including sideburns. I doubt this unless if it's like you're not playing as Claude and in story he changes class and gains a wyvern because he finds one that is on the street or something like that in battle and gets attached to it. Kind of like Jimenez in Bugaboo in Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey. Fanny's information on supports comes from early development, so they aren't fully developed, but apparently female Byleth has more gay supports than male. There are some camp characters, some open LGBT characters, Elgar is bisexual, Dorothea and Mercedes are LGBT as well. Apparently some LGBT characters are spoilery, and Byleth can romance Linhart. That's perfectly fine, you know. I'm again not a big fan of whining romance in this game, because I think it's kind of overdone right now. We just need a break from it, please. But other than that, that's perfectly, and I mean perfectly fine for them to, you know, be LGBT or whatever, because, you know, they're people. And, you know, over time, and, you know, people want to be able to ship themselves with them and make it be realistic, you know? So, more power to them. Students lose their uniforms and look more unique upon promotion. That just sounds like, you know, wish fulfillment, because people have complained at the wazoo about how uniform the military uniforms look. And I'm just like, they're in a military school, you idiots. So, pretty much this just sounds like wish fulfillment. Moving on. Cloud's father is actually from the country east of Leicester, beyond the mountains, Almyra, I believe. You get at least 2 other characters from there. Lawrence dislikes Claude because he technically should be the next leader of Lester and doesn't believe Claude deserves his position, or something like that. Claude's storyline revolves around his heritage, which kind of separates him from Edelgard's and Dimitri's stories. I can buy that because, well, if he is from Beyond the Mountains and not technically Lester, that'd be pretty cool because, like, he kind of has right to both Elmira and Lester. Like, say his mom was from Lester and his dad was from Elmira. It'd kind of create conflict, especially if, like, say, there's royal courts in the story or something like that. But, again, we'll just have to wait and see. That one's more of the more believable ones, in my opinion. But this one's kind of bullshit to me. Dimitri is Edelgard's stepbrother. She hates the crest because they've been used for evil. Apparently, Lysynthia is an example of this. She is apparently more ruthless than other female lords. Honestly, I can see Edelgard being more ruthless than other female lords, given how she's acted in the first trailer about the crest being to blame, and sounding all cold about how war is and all that. But I'm still pretty skeptical. The Dimitri being Edelgard's stepbrother, no. I just don't fucking buy it. Like, I don't. If it happens to be the case, that's cool, but I just don't buy it. Then the next one is the sword woman in the trailer's name is Katherine. She also has a pretty cool nickname according to one of my informants. Ria's advisor is named Setis. We'll also be getting characters named Cyril and Elio, and another monastery worker. Okay, that's just speculation on who's going to be revealed more throughout, like Famitsu news, and I don't mind that at all. So, you know what? Fine by me. There will be some characters related to your father, some connected to the Church of Ceros, and some completely unrelated neutral characters. There are quite a few Shura-type characters. So what that basically means is that we're going to recruit some people outside of the Academy, which I personally don't buy. I subscribe to a theory of mine that we are stuck with just our 10, our starting students. Maybe we'll get the transfer student, like as pointed out above. And that'll be it. Because, again, each of them is, you're training each of them to be leaders. And having, like, 9 leaders in one battle seems kind of ridiculous, because, I mean, what if everyone in that battle gets wiped out? Who's gonna be, what leaders do you have left? You've killed off 9 of them, so your army's kind of basically fucked. Be at least one unique beast unit. Don't buy that at all. I really don't feel like they're gonna bring back beast units, because beast units kind of go against customizability, because this game's all about the customizability, and it's like, unique beast unit, no. I mean, if you're gonna be training the students to be whatever the fuck you want, you'd be taking away the ability to be a beast unit, and that's kind of what has driven people from not wanting to change Keaton and Yarn and Pan from being beast units in other in like Awakening and Fates. Ria's advisor is recruitable, as again they said the guy's name is Sitis, or however you pronounce it. So I could believe that somewhat, like maybe later on. But again, I think the cast is gonna be pretty small. Manuela is romanceable and has a marriage complex. Again, I could see that, because what we've revealed of her character is that she's having trouble finding a man. Maybe she just has high standards or something like that. But, who knows? Both Byleth can romance Mercedes. Again, that's pretty cool, if it's true, so whatever. Now, again, another promotion, this time for Edelgard. Edelgard promotes with axes, armor, and authority. I, again, call bullshit. Sounds nice, kind of like a Baron class, but if they all get unique promotions in story while you're playing as them, I think that'd be bullshit, because, like, what's the point of training them up if they've got a canon class? And, like, that canon class, it's like, that class is unique to them, so it just sounds stupid. Like, they gain axes, armor, and authority. Like, what if you never trained Edelgard in armor at this point? She just suddenly gains some armor ranks and some authority? What's the point of fucking teaching her then? I just hate this idea with a passion. And this one's already been revealed, I think. The blonde girl is named Ingrid. So, like, yeah, that's about it so far. So, next I'm gonna go on to the story stuff. And, okay, now on to the story stuff. There's a 5-year time skip. Something that I could buy. Especially given, like, if people think there's, like, another generation. If there's children mechanics. Which I personally don't subscribe to, but it could happen. Pretty much everyone's looks changes after the time skip. Again, something that's believable. Like, if they age, they ought to look like they age. The houses will get more antagonistic towards each other and other paths. I believe that too, you know? Because I believe it'll be like the law, chaos, and neutral routes in Shin Megami Tensei, where you'll get a much more antagonistic path. Like, Edelgard and Dimitri will start at each other's throats, Claude will be distrustful towards them, etc., etc. The Academy remains important throughout the game, but becomes less relevant later on. I could believe that because, I mean, eventually your students will become masters of nearly everything, so what'd be the point of, like, keeping the Academy forced in and relevant? So, I mean, that makes sense to me. Part 1 has 12 chapters, no word on how many parts. Part 1 has a heavy focus on the Academy, for example, while Part 2 does not. I can see that somewhat. Like, I feel like by 12 chapters, they mean, like, the 12 months for the game, because, again, we're going by the calendar system instead of the traditional chapter system. So maybe Part 1 is, like, the first year of the game. So, while you are doing the Academy stuff for the year, like, maybe Part 2, you start doing more outside battles and stuff because they're more experienced and whatnot. But, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But that one's not so believable, so unbelievable. Like, again, so far it just seems to be the gameplay stuff that I just don't buy because it seems too wish fulfillment. There are four paths that don't converge. The fourth path is not a happily ever after a la Revelation, and Edelgard gets 2 of those paths. One of them is a neutral path. So again, going off the Shin Megami Tensei theory, we'll probably have a neutral ending or something like that. And if Edelgard gets 2 paths, which I don't really buy this one, but if Edelgard does get 2 paths, I can see it perhaps her sticking to the church, or perhaps going against the church. That could be part of her story arc. Like, maybe you help her realize the church's evils, or maybe you push her away from the church or something like that. Some characters aren't permanent at all for story reasons. I don't believe that. I think people really want there to be more character deaths than there really should be, but I don't like the idea of the story killing off characters in your party, because honestly, like, if there's such a small army, you need everyone you can get, and killing off characters for story reasons is kind of BS in that regard. I mean, the only games that have done that so far have been Fire Emblem 4 and Revelation. And okay, so it's half work, so it could work, but I am just not that big on it. I don't know the names, but the legendary weapons should be linked to the crest. The game has very close connections to Genealogy of the Holy War, from the darker storyline to the characterization. Each noble house has access to certain crests/weapons. The weapons are wieldable by units who don't have the respective crests IRC, but there are very dire consequences. I could see that because, again, the holy, like, the crests are basically holy blood. They're minor. There's minor and major crests. Though they say that in, like, the blurb from Famitsu that the crests don't always manifest. Like, you could be a noble and not have a crest, so Like, surprisingly, Edelgard is a minor crest of Fodlan. Maybe if she was to have a kid, if there's like a second generation, which I don't buy, maybe her kid might not have any Fodlan blood, or maybe he'll have major Fodlan because he just got lucky in the genetic lottery. Who knows? As for dire consequences, I could see the crests are a point of contention because, you know, if someone has like holy blood that can wield special weapons and shit, I could see that causing a lot of conflict throughout the story. So, anyway, moving on. Let's just say the story and the character development are much, much better than Fate's Awakening. Major Jugdral Tellius vibes a little modern flair. Edelgard reminds me so much of Micaiah, but a bit more ruthless. Again, I can buy that because, again, we've been getting holy blood, huge-ass maps from what photos are showing, diverse map objectives from what it seems like so far. But I can see that. And let me just click on this next one so I can get more. But this one says, in response to something that tells me that recruits from other houses will be mutated to a monster affected by the crests. They didn't reveal that in Famitsu because, like, that's something that the person that's compiled the thread up asked. But they didn't reveal that in Famitsu. But I could somewhat see it, like, you know, perhaps as the crests become more aggressive and the crests cause that dire consequences they bring up. But I could see that, especially because in the trailer we fight a beast that has the Beast Stone of Gautier, which is Sylvain's crest, so who knows, that could be the case. You will fight the students from other routes and they will die, including the other lords. Again, classic Shin Megami Tensei shit, so I can see that happening. This game is very much the Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem crossover we've been looking for. The school setting was just a facade for a much darker storyline, and there will be more than 3 countries involved. I hope there's more than 3 countries involved. I would love for the school setting to kind of stick around and them still do a dark story with the school setting, like Persona 3. I keep making Shin Megami Tensei references, but that's because they're the easiest to compare to for this. Okay, this one's just opinion. From what I know very little of the story so far, I'd give it a 9. By comparison, Genealogy is a 10 and Fates is a 2. So, pretty much, they're saying the story will be on par with Genealogy and Path of Radiance. But, who knows. A somewhat small spoiler is that Dijue was one of the bandits that attacked and killed Dimitri's family. Dimitri kept him as a bodyguard, which is why Dijue owes him a great debt. I don't buy that, because honestly, I don't see Dijue being alive if that was the case. There'd be no way that, like, Dimitri would keep the person that killed his parents near him. If anything, he'd stick him with a fucking lance and put his head on a pike. As any noble would do. It's not just a, oh, I think I know what Dimitri would do. It'd be a, hey, you killed my parents. Right then, you're surrendering, I'm cutting off your head. Fuck you, you're a representation on a pike. Basically, crest experimentation happens in the game, and if it fails, people turn into those beasts that we see at the end of the second trailer. Yeah, I could somewhat see that, but how do you experiment on holy blood, you know? Does someone, like, try to force eugenics or something? Like, maybe if there is, like, pair up or something, we see, like, horrific results, kind of as, like, that take back at, the whole requests for more marriage and children in these games. But even then, that seems pretty far-fetched. Retainers are guaranteed to be pretty important, at least relative to other characters. These characters are Hubert, Dijue, Lorenz, and Hilda. I can see that, truthfully enough. Spoiler, recruitable characters, Rhea and Sothis are recruitable. Sothis is bi. Yeah, that seems like wish fulfillment, and I don't think anyone should know that Sophus is bi. I don't think it matters. I don't think that people want that. And Lysithea, there's like a girl named Lysithea. I forget which one she was for a second, but she's a tragic character that dies. I don't buy that because I think that's just making the small roster already smaller than it is. But if it happens, I'll be honest, if any of this happens, I'll eat my words, you know? But, yeah. This has been the Great Riek, and honestly, these are a bit iffy and wish fulfillment-y in my mind. And while some of these are interesting, I highly doubt them, even with a credible source such as Thanybomb, because Thanybom's been pretty credible in the past from what I understand. I just don't see these happening. But, I mean, who knows? I might be wrong. We might get Edelgard getting a special promotion, which makes the Academy mechanic kind of useless. Who knows? Because, again, all the game is very experimental, and there might be some stuff that they force in to try to make it seem more Fire Emblem-like. But, we'll just have to wait and see. Either way, this has been the Great Riek. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.